Hey everybody, this is Magician34. It's sort of a starter video for me. I thought, well, current format, I could give you just the usual Black Wings, Lightsworn, Gladiator Beasts, or Summon Cat, but if you want to see Summon Cat, I mean, come on, look at the national champs for the US, for Canada, and arguably going to be a world champion too, so rather than give you something like that, we'll give you something a little weird, a little creative, not necessarily saying you should play it if you're going to a regional or anything, but something you might want to try just for fun and around. So, yeah, take a guess what it is. Alright. This is kind of a interesting little Crystal Beast deck. Obviously, first thing, Sapphire Pegasus. Enough said, should understand how that works. Not going to spend too much time on that. Tiger, I know some people do go with 2, but 3 really makes a lot more sense. It's very aggressive. You put the equipped spell on it, which Crystal Leaf, I'm going to show you that in a second. Guy can jump to 2800 for attack. Kills pretty much everything, even trades with Goyo. So, pretty straightforward there. Mammoth, just a little more muscle. This is going to be a more aggressive Crystal Beast deck. It's kind of a change of pace. This is not based on abundance or the field spell or anything like that. So, just kind of running through the monster lineup right now. 1 Carbuncle, Mammoth Swing, you can Monster Reborn it, Crystal Promise it, etc. At special summons, you run a lot of people over. Pretty straightforward. Next up, go to these 3. Amethyst Cat, great, mainly because of these guys. Obviously, you have to run 3 of the Amethyst Cat, so you hit a good chance of hitting doubles on this, which is good in case you need to power up. But also, obviously, Cat works real well with all the other crystal stuff for aggression. It's surprisingly effective. Yada yada. Well, Rescue Cat probably explains a lot more about this guy. Just 1 copy on him. The deck is pretty spell light, actually, so you don't need a lot of him. 1's enough. After all, I mean, really the target is the cat, so you're essentially running 3 cats. 2 Airbellums. Crystal Beasts don't usually sync, but once again, this is about aggression. It's not about the big Crystal Beast combo stuff like you're used to seeing. So, should be enough right there. That's all the monsters. Alright. These 3 are pretty straightforward. Monsterborn, MST, Brain Control. Brain Control is probably actually a little more questionable in this deck, but since you got the tuners and whatnot, you can Brain Control pretty effectively. 7 stars is going to be your big swing in this deck, in case you hadn't already told. Most of the Crystal Beasts are 4 stars. Your only actual tuner yourself is Airbellum, so 3 and 4, yeah. Book, it's a wonder card in this format. Shuts down Black Wings. Shuts down most of the synchros. It's just a no-brainer. It fills in really well. Feeds the Summon Priest. I mean, it's a nice set and flip. Pretty much how you gotta do it these days. Plus, it works really well with small 4-star aggression, which is what we're doing here. Pot of Avarice. Just the 1, but this deck loads the grave pretty quickly, so it's a must-have. And gives you that extra draw power. Crystal Promise. Really only going to run 1 because you're going to have a minimum of Crystal Beasts in your spell trap zone all the time. So, really, it's not going to be as reliable, so just 1 is good. Next up, rare value. Getting 3 into the spell trap zone, getting 2 into the spell trap zone really isn't that hard. So, I mean, once again, Rescue Cat can power you into this real quick, which is good. And most of the time, you're only going to need 1 Crystal Beast in the spell trap zone. This is the only time you're going to need more than 1. But thanks to this next card, which you haven't seen yet technically, and Pegasus, obviously you can hit 2 pretty regularly. You're not going to hit more than that very often, which is why you're not using the field spell. But anyway, enough of that. This is some surprising muscle here, but it makes all your Crystal Beasts pretty big actually. It makes the Tiger jump to 28, which runs over virtually everything. Makes the Horse 26, so it can still run over Stardust. Stardust really isn't that scary for this deck because of this card. And, of course, it powers up things like Rare Value and Crystal Promise and yada yada yada. It's at 3. Plus, nobody says you can't run 2. Deck's a little trap heavy. First, these 2 are pretty straightforward. Mirror Force. This deck is a little scared of the bigger monsters. Crystal Release is supposed to combat that, but obviously things get in the way. This defends you really well. You're trying to kill them in a few turns only, 3 to 4. Torrential Tribute, especially good for you, not only because, hey, something big comes along, I want to kill it, but also because it'll allow you to cycle your Crystal Beasts when they're about to be overwhelmed anyway, so who needs them, into your Spell Trap Zone where you can reuse them later. Solemn Judgment, if you want to really control, this is how you gotta do it. Don't be afraid to use it on the small stuff. Use it to maintain control of your field. That's why they're here. Alright, here's the key to this particular build of Crystal Beasts. It's Crystal Raigeki. Only needs 1 in the Spell Trap Zone to activate, blows away any card at all. Pop it in the end phase to make sure you go through their spells and traps. Destroy the things that are about to sync up. You name it. Works for everything. Real good for stopping that first Blackwing. So on and so forth, because you got Crystal Releases and you've got the Pegasus. All of them loading up just to get these going. And also, you rare value, you'll probably rare value into one of these guys, which means you get to set it and use the other Crystal Beast that was waiting in there for you. So, works out pretty well. It's kind of a 1-2 punch. And the last two are the Oppressions. You special summon very little in this deck, and the principle behind Royal Oppression is pretty much the same here as it is in others. Don't flip it until you actually need it, obviously, so you don't shut down your own synchros. But basically, even if you have to flip it early, your deck can easily win without syncing up. So, these guys are really effective. Another way you can hose meta decks. So, there's your 40 right there, and I'm just going to run really quickly through the Synchro deck. Not quite as big a deal in here. Obviously, since you don't sync that much. The 8 stars, you're not going to hit them very often. Basically, you got a monster reborn or brain control form. 2 Stardust, he just hates on too much stuff, not to run 2 Glad Beasts, and so on and so forth. Red Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler. Some of these are optional, like him. I love him, but yeah, he's just finding it too hard to put into good use these days. Like I say, 7 stars is what you're going to hit primarily. Dark Strike finishes the job. Got to run 2 just in case of Solemn or whatever, what have you. Just one of the best 7 stars you can get in this deck. Also, Arcanite, Summoner Monk, enough said. Black Rose, below the field. He's not as important probably going to be as, say, Arcanite in this deck, but you still need just the 1. And once again, kind of a no-brainer. Armor Master, easy to steal Blackwings, 7 stars. You steal away that little steal away the Gale, sorry about that. I can't talk tonight. Steal away the Gale, sync with 1 of your 4 stars, you got a million of them in this deck, real easy to make. And it's kind of hard for Blackwings to get through right away. Urbellum, surprisingly, I don't summon him that much. I don't think that many people really do, but if you ever had an occasion where you could actually use him, wouldn't he just be devastating? So, there you go on that one. Goyo, pretty easy to make. I mean, hey, Rescue Cat, go get Urbellum, etc. You know the drill. Tempest, obviously you're going to have to steal to make this one, but stealing Krebins via Monster Reborn is pretty easy, and you might even bring control for it, and this could be game ending, because remember, after all, you've got the Spellcaster, you've got Summoner Monk. So, Gaionite, hey, my favorite 6 star other than Goyo, because this guy kills Stardust, that's why he's better than Chain Dragon, Iron Chain Dragon. Why would anyone go Iron Chain Dragon over this guy? Don't know. Even if I ran Iron Chains, I'd probably still go for this guy. But, last but not least, Magical Android, almost always better than Gishel Nodon, and since I only got 1 slot left, well, it's going to be the better of the 2. It's going to be Android. And yeah, you can sync for it. You're not likely to, but you can. So anyway, that's the deck, pretty much. Hope you enjoy it. There will be more to come. Thanks. And as always, rate, comment, subscribe. And I'll get back to you maybe with something a little more serious or certainly interesting. Bye.